So in today's video, I have my TriStar Studios pen that I picked up the day after my interview released with Scott, and I'll put a link to the description in that if you didn't see it or listen to it yet. Great to talk to him about how he kind of got into pen making, his process, and what he likes to make. So here we have his first ever pen where he did a laser engraved logo on it. Now, when he came to the little coffee meetup that Butler Stationery does on Friday mornings, I don't believe he planned on selling this pen that day, but as soon as I saw it with that matte finish, this is an Australian Burl wood, I knew that was the pen that I wanted to take home. I already told him, at some point I'm going to get one of his pens, and I love his polished pens, but there's something about that matte material in this Burl wood that just jumped out to me. And I really love the detail of the nickel silver rings that are put on there. And you can just see the slightest little bit here of the section material, which is actually Turnt Pen Company Carson 4 is the name of this blank. And the color mixture in there is just beautiful. It's it's kind of surprising. You have the wood grain, but then you open it up and you get that pop of color. And I really liked how that worked out. Now, to be upfront, I did not get the pen in the box. Like I said, he wasn't planning on selling it. Luckily, he has pens on display at Butler Stationery, so I was able to get a box from Jonathan that would go with it. This is actually how my pen came in this pen sleeve, because this is how he was carrying it to kind of show off to the people at the coffee meet. And he's like, well, do you want the sleeve? I was like, yes, I really would, because look at the topographic material. I love that my laptop sleeve actually has a sticker on the top. It's not a sleeve, but a vinyl sticker that's topographic. It's just a cool look to me. So that added to the pen as well. It's really well made. And I'll put a link in the description to the Instagram. I'm blanking on the name at the moment. I remember the woman's name was Rachel, but I don't remember the exact account, but I'll put that as a link, so be sure and check that out. But I'm really liking this pen. Since I got it the other day, I immediately took it with me to go do some writing. So I already have, I think, 4-ish full A5 single-space pages written with this pen, and it is comfortable. It sits in my hand really well. It's a little bit smaller diameter than some of my other pens, but the section, the way it tapers down, let me get that over here so you can see. It tapers down just enough that the way I hold the pen, it sits, with a great angle on the paper. And this is just, when Scott makes pens, he uses bock nibs, so this is a bock extra fine. Now, if you're getting a pen from him, you normally have the option of getting one with his logo engraved in the nib. Since he hadn't planned on selling this is not actually the nib that was on this pen. We did a little bit of musical chairs with some of the other pens he had in the display case to put an extra fine nib in here. I'll probably eventually pick up another nib from him as well that has the logo on there. I do like the logo nibs for these independent pen makers. That's just a neat little detail. But for the time being, I wanted to use it. I didn't want to wait, when there's a beautiful pen that can be yours and it's there, more than likely I'd rather have if nothing else, this will become an extra Bock extra fine nib that'll go in my collection of nibs. But this is the TriStar Studio, and I just had it open. I had to redo another take, so it's starting a little slow. This is an Australian Burl. It's a Bock extra fine. And the section material is Turnt Pen Company. Carson 4. Like I said, I was so I wanted to get writing with this so quickly. I didn't have a bottle of ink with me, so I actually picked up a bottle of Diamine Blue Black when I was there at Butler, so I could immediately fill the pen up and take it with me to do some writing. And this is a standard cartridge converter, so you can pop any converter in there or a cartridge if you want. So kind of a standard for a lot of the maker pens. Now there are some makers doing pistons and things like that, but I kind of like the simplicity of the cartridge converter. Easy to clean, easy to swap inks out, and get to writing. But overall, very pleased with this. And one other thing that I want to add is another thing that Scott sells and makes is he got started in woodworking. That we talked about that in the interview. This is actually a little pen stand that I already owned of his, and I love the saying on the back, "Sleep when you're dead. Today we enjoy fountain pens." As soon as I saw that, as I knew that was the one I needed. But this is how this has been sitting on my desk, with it being a newer pen. Of course, it's one of the ones I'm going to grab between this and my D² Arts. I've been fighting of which one I can use, because I can only use one at a time. So I've been alternating pages or alternating, which one I'll pick up. But overall, very pleased with this. I look forward to owning this for many years. And, Scott already reached out saying if I ever had any issues, reach out to him. He stands behind his pens 100%. So that's always great to hear. But I honestly don't think I'm ever going to have to take him up on that. The fit and finish on this is just wonderful. So once again, this is the TriStar Studios in an Australian Burl with Turnt Pen Company section. And actually the first pen he ever did his laser engraved logo on. So to me, that's cool to own a little bit of a piece of pen maker history. Okay, so that's going to wrap up this unboxing and first look at the TriStar Studios Australian Burl wood with Turnt Pen Company section. I really enjoy this pen. I've written multiple pages and it's just beautiful. And I look forward to having this in the collection. And I'm sure at some point down the line, I'm going to add another TriStar pen as well. I'm curious though, is this a pen style that you like? Do you like the matte finish or do you prefer polished finishes? Leave me a comment. Let me know. I go back and forth depending on the material. Some of them look great polished, but there's something about that matte finish that it appeals to my style. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing so you can see new videos like this as they're released. And thanks for watching.